Welcome to the class, dear students. In this class, let's try to learn briefly about a dissertation upon roast pig, one essay by Charles Lamb, where this essay reveals Lamb's Epicurean taste for roast pig. Epicurean in the sense his love for food, love for taste of food. Charles Lamb loved to be in the company of his friends with good enjoyment, at the same time with good food. This is revealed in this essay. As we know, this essay, A Dissertation upon Roast Pig, was first published in the London Magazine in September 1822. Actually, a similar story had appeared earlier in the 3rd century by the title De Abstinentia. In the book De Abstinentia, it had appeared earlier. Lamb takes up the similar story in a humorous way. He treats it more humorously. And once again, this essay is autobiographical, which reveals Lamb's personality with his love for food and its taste. And he uses here in this essay a Chinese anecdote, a Chinese incident story, and treats it extremely in a humorous way. To go to the story, Lamb in the beginning of the essay refers to his friend, an Eastern traveller and linguist, Mr. M. Thomas Money. Lamb tells that he actually related the story of this roast pig from a Chinese manuscript to him, and the same related story by his friend is narrated in a more humorous way here in this essay. According to it, mankind ate raw meat for the first 70,000 years, and later accidentally it was discovered, means the art of roasting pig was discovered, and this discovery is narrated to us in the form of an anecdote, a Chinese incident story. To begin with the story, very humorous story. Ho Ti is the swineherd that one day he leaves his cottage to the care of his son Bobo. Ho Ti, Ho Chi or Ho Ti you can pronounce, is the father that one day leaves his cottage to the care of his son Bobo. I'm curious to know about Bobo that he is fond of playing with fire, and out of his mischievous act the cottage gets set on fire, and finally it is burned down to ashes. The whole cottage burns down to ashes. There remains nothing but ashes. While he is anxious as to what he has to answer to his father. Meanwhile, he is attracted to a strange smell, strange odor, pleasant smell, very beautiful smell, and he is attracted at that, and he searches for the thing and feels that the thing is pig. And when he touches it, naturally he burns his finger, and he puts his finger into his mouth, and thus he gets to know the taste of roast pig accidentally, and he thus finally discovers that the odor that he was attracted to was nothing but that of a roast pig, and the taste is delicious. And then we see his father, Hoti, returns. He starts beating him, and unaware of all this beating, Bobo continues to eat the roast pig. As he was taken in, he was completely overwhelmed, attracted too by the taste of roast pig. And very humorously he recommends the same thing to his father, to taste the roast pig. And accidentally the father too burns his finger and puts his finger in his mouth and tastes the roast pig delicious. And finally they decide that they do not want to disclose the truth to anybody, any of their neighbors, and they secretly continue to enjoy the roast pig. And for this they set the cottage on fire now and then, and neighbors are very curious. They see to it that now and then the cottage gets on fire, and finally they discover that it is because of roast pig they are doing so, both father and the son. And finally the case is taken before the judges, and both Hoti and Bobo are summoned to trial at Peking. What happens very humorously is, this is how humorous things earlier, son discovering it all of a sudden accidentally, the delicious taste of roast pig, and then father following the same path. And now what happens with the judge and jury? The judge and jury also, while handling the evidence, that is roast pig, they also burn their fingers and accidentally taste it, and it tastes delicious too. And finally, very humorously, ironically, that both father and son are set free, because the verdict pronounced on them is that of not guilty. They were acquitted of the charge upon them of having tasted the roast pig, which was a taboo. And what happens then? The judge follows the same for delicious taste by setting his own house on fire in the city, in the town, one he has. And people all over do the same thing, setting their houses on fire just to eat roast pig. Means for a small thing, for a small pig to be roasted, they used to put the whole house on fire. Finally it is discovered by a genius. Very humorously he compares that genius to John Locke, the English philosopher. And finally, the genius comes out with one solution, that it is not necessary to burn down a house just to roast a pig, and what is needed is a little fire to roast the pig. And this is how finally the art of roasting is discovered. And in this essay, Lamb challenges that no flavor is comparable to that of the crisp, tawny, well-washed, not over-roasted pig. Means he is 100% in favor of roast pig and its taste. And at length he writes about the art of roasting a pig, and he writes of its taste and everything. That's why it's a long story, a long discussion, a long writing on roast pig. That's why the title says a dissertation. A dissertation means a long writing, a long discussion upon roast pig. I hope, dear students, you have understood briefly about a dissertation upon roast pig written by Charles Lamb. Thank you, dear students.